Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first podcast of TSF1 Greece for the Formula 1 of this season. Together with me today, I have my co-host Panos. Hello, Panos.
Hello, Alex. Hello, everyone.
So, being the first podcast for this season, we couldn't do anything else rather than start with what? Discussing the launch and the liveries of the team's cars. So, being the first podcast that we do in English, we are trying our best to not, how can I say this politely, mess it up a lot. So excuse our English, it will get better as the time goes by, hopefully. So, the first team to launch its livery for this year has been Haas Racing, with their car being mainly black. Black is kind of the color of the season, right, Panos? So it's black, and then it's a bit of white, and then some red.
Alex, they tried to make the Coca-Cola Zero car, but since MoneyGram is their main sponsor,
you have to put some red.
They had to put some red, and in order to make it be more transparent and be more
so that you can actually see it.
Yes, they decided to go with black, white, red, and they almost forgot to put the Haas logos on the car. But it's okay, they put the hard tire in order to make a
have some contrast. Yes.
Yes.
I think the thought was this, like black, and then it's like, oh, okay, nobody can see it. Well, white then. And then it's like, shit, we have MoneyGram. Red, here, there. And then it's like, crap, which team are we? Haas, great, slap it on the side. They look at it, great, perfect.
The point is that Haas didn't go, spoiler alert, as the other teams did with carbon fiber accents. They painted the car black. It's not carbon, if you can tell.
Which is actually kind of stupid. So if you're going to do it the same color, why bother painting it? I mean, look at Mercedes.
Haas, let me tell you something. Haas, I have some ideas. We can have a chat.
Okay.
We can discuss a lot of things that you're doing wrong and can be done right. Okay?
Yeah. So, I think we covered the Coca-Cola Zero, the Haas livery. Let's go to Red Bull. You look at it and you think,
what?
It's the same but different, but the same, but different, but the same. It's like this back and forth. If it works, it's not stupid, so why change something that works, right? So maybe it's a touch of the tones, maybe the colors are a bit different, so the blue might be some other shade of blue, but basically everything else looks like it is, like it was last year. Yeah. So I think Red Bull, do we really have something to comment on it, or can we go to Williams?
Red Bull does the same thing every year, I think. They see something that works and they keep it.
Yeah.
So
just leave it alone.
Why try?
Yes.
Why try changing it?
Yeah. Just leave
Williams,
it.
on the other hand, didn't change much. Again, just other shades of blue. And yeah.
It's actually something that's reoccurring. Yes, we have a change in the shades of colors from last season. But because you said Duracell, can we give them credit for the best sponsor placement for this season? Like, it's amazing. You use the air intake over the driver's head and it's actually Duracell. It's black and it's this copper bronze color on the edge, just like the battery itself. I think that's a very good implementation of the sponsor. Real good.
Agreed.
Moving on to undoubtedly one of the best looking cars for this season, the C43 from Alfa Romeo. I think they let Centro Stile go to town with it, the design center of Alfa Romeo. I think it's black and red just works. Okay, maybe the transitions are a bit aggressive, but I mean in general it's a beautiful livery. Okay, so I think it works. It's good. Better than Haas, definitely. So
worse than last year, but better than most of the teams this year.
Yes, I think this year they should go a bit more red. A bit more red would work even better, I think. But okay, maybe next season. So, moving to the busiest looking of them all, Alpha Tauri. I mean, it's blue and it's white and it's red and it has accents and then it has other colors of accents, and I mean it's busy, right? I mean last year it was basically blue, some grayish white, crayon, whatever that color it is. Maybe we should get a woman on this podcast to help us comment on colors. Like, I mean, they have a name for every shade. I think it's better than the last season's car, but again,
it's
nothing amazing. I mean, it's better. It's a bit more lively. It's a bit more colorful. And I think we can go to basically the next copy-paste. I mean, Aston Martin.
This team is a copy-paste.
I mean, like, come on. Okay. You're so Red Bull with your livery. I mean, they literally chose the middle tires with yellow accents instead of going with the hard compound, the medium compound. Excuse me, I mean, my English is letting me down. So from hard compound to medium compound, good. I mean, yeah, yellow basically looks a bit better. It's like the shade of yellow that they have on their stripe that goes along the side, but basically it's a different shade of this greenish emerald color that they have, and then it's just carbon, and that's it.
The theme of this year's liveries, I think it's carbon.
Yeah,
carbon, less color.
Yes, they are really carbon heavy. I mean, unpainted carbon, just leave it as it is. Then we have got again a kind of busy livery, McLaren Racing. I mean, the colors of is this Gulf mix, the blue and the orange, and then, but it's not that blue. It's a different blue and it's a different orange, and then it's carbon and it's, yeah, busy.
The chrome accent on the air intake.
Yeah, I mean that was the top of. I think it's one of the cars that I like, one of the liveries that I like the least. Hopefully they change it up a bit, but I mean, okay.
Agreed.
It's just like same thing each year.
The sexiest of them all. Alex and I are Tifosi fans, if you didn't know.
Yes, I mean nobody will notice it within the season listening to the podcast. I mean, it's now officially time for Ferrari, as the Italians used to say. I mean, it's the theme of this year. Same but different, but the same, but not the same exactly. So different shade of red, just again it's lower part carbon, 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 and the upper part is just red. Done with it. Typical shield, the Scuderia shields, the Shell shields as a sponsor, everything else, AWS and Santander, basically their main sponsors, exactly the same place, and that's it. Now we move on to the king of carbon, Mercedes. How much carbon do you want, guys? Yes. I think they did the best thing that they could. So everyone's going with carbon, so Mercedes thought, okay, let's just put the stickers on, the livery, leave it as it is, not paint anything, and we're done with it. Simple and effective. And apparently they save a few hundred grams of weight, apparently, so...
And it's a bit of money, to be honest.
Yes, budget caps are tight.
Mercedes didn't have the best season last year, so I think this might help them a bit, not as much as they would like, I think, but might help them a bit with
their budget cap. I think they literally saved every single cent they could. But okay,
agreed.
You can't blame someone for just using the money in a better way. As Enzo Ferrari used to say, a race car is beautiful only if it wins races. So, yeah, who cares? If it wins, it wins. Now, going to the last manufacturer for this year, it's Alpine. Again, I mean, it's a repetitive sim. Like, I mean, it's copy. Yes, it's Control C, Control V, or Command if you're an Apple user. It's the same but different, but a bit more carbon. What did change? I mean, they moved the Alpine, the BWT state, Castrol state, Renault E-Tech state. Yeah, basically, the wing is carbon, the nose is carbon, the sides are mostly carbon. I think everyone went with the whole, how much carbon do you want? Yes, theme. That's the theme.
The theme was carbon this year. Yes, agreed.
Yeah. So everything else basically just was wrapped around that. And I think the liveries are okay-ish. But more importantly, within the next week, we finally will have our podcast after the Bahrain testing, pre-season testing. Finally, we're getting closer to the beginning. So I think in our next podcast, Panos and I will, maybe also if Dimitris, our third guest, will be amongst us, I think we will discuss, aside from the pre-season testing that took place at Shakir in Bahrain, also the calendar for this year, so the dates and the races, and we can look into the teams and the drivers. But I think this was just a short intro, so we get to know each other. Hopefully you will subscribe and you will listen to us. And we will do our best to keep the season interesting. Our commentary will be, let's say, less of a news announcement, more like a discussion among friends and petrolheads. So it's the first podcast. Our English is trying to readapt. Our brain is digging up all the English words and the vocabulary we have. And well, definitely it will get better as time goes by. So from my side and Panos, thank you very much for your time and listening, and we look forward to seeing you. Yeah, definitely we will hear you. To seeing you in our next podcast. Have a great evening or a great day, depending on where you are around the world. From the team of TSF1 Podcast, bye.